Hello and welcome to the webinar about the online master in food technology. Thank you for joining. It's really nice to have you here in this online session. My name is Arjen Zegwaard. I'm one of the two program directors of this program. And today I will act as the moderator of this session because the star of the show is Jenneke.
Yeah, my name is Jenneke Heijsing, and together with Arjen, I'm program director of the Online Master Food Technology, and I will present something about the program, and hopefully I can also answer all of your questions.
Yeah, so the goal of this session is to give you an overview of what this program is like, to show you what it is, to provide you this overview, but foremost also, this is not a YouTube thing that you're looking at. You can ask us questions. I have a computer here. You can ask questions. Please shoot your questions at me. We really need you to make this webinar an interactive thing. If you have questions, let me know. And so maybe to start off, it's nice for us to know also a bit about you. So maybe you can let us know in the question thing. I think in the right-hand side bottom of your screen there's an orange button. There you can post your questions. Please let us know there where you're from. It's nice for us to know a bit where you're from and to also to have a bit of a feeling about our audience. So before we start with a presentation by Jenneke, let's start with a video in which you will see one of the professors of this program.
I really like to go to the supermarket. I can spend hours in the supermarket and just look at the new products.
I'm mostly interested in the quality of the food.
You have to be proud to be a food technologist because you can have an impact on the daily life of the people. The food industry, first of all, is one of the largest industry globally, but also the degree of innovation that is in the food industry is very impressive. You don't see this, but if you think every time you go to the supermarket, you see some new product. And behind that new product, there are people who designed the product, produce the product, scout for new ingredients, so it's a continuous innovation.
I decided to study food technology because I always liked food and I always liked cooking. And in school I realized that natural sciences are what is most logical to me, which is easiest to me. So then I found in food technology that it would be the perfect fit for me.
Wageningen University is #1 in food for now many years. So if you are someone working in food around the world, Wageningen is the first name that comes to mind. We always say Wageningen is the Disneyland of the food scientist. You will have fun and also you will have reward in the type of study you are doing. It's fundamental in some aspect. You can really be challenged by the theory and so on, but also applicative. You can design food, you can test your ideas in different courses. Let's say you cannot be bored of study food technology. Every period you have new courses that challenge you in a different direction. So when you graduate in food technology with the stick of Wageningen on the top, it's really a big asset on your CV.
We're using a lot of sugars and stuff like that, and there are always possibilities to reduce the sugar or the fat and just bring in more natural-based compounds to get a bit more quality. Getting back to basic is just to gain more taste and quality without those added sugars, salts and fats.
Since I have a background in food technology, I also see the production side of the products. For example, when you have cookies with like a cream filling which has more moisture than the cookies itself, and you have to make sure that the cookie still stays crispy. I want to become a product designer. Like the nicest would be for like a big food company, of course, because you have so many possibilities, because they usually not only have like one type of product, but many different ones. You have many possibilities also in making career and becoming like more than a product designer.
Yeah, this was an impression of our education on the campus. It was the program, the Bachelor Food Technology. And you saw here Professor Vincenzo Fogliano, and for me it's great to see in this video, you can really see the passion of the teachers, of the professors, and also how this inspires our students. And this education on the campus, we do this already for many, many years, but since a few years we also give an online program. And maybe it's nice to know that the same teachers, so the same professors that give the education online, they also provide the on-campus education, but also the online education.
So if food sciences in Wageningen is the Disneyland of food sciences, this is the online Disneyland of food sciences. Maybe you can show us the presentation and give us an idea about what this program is like and how it works.
Yeah, good idea. So let's go through the program. So I prepared a small presentation for you. In this presentation, I will give you a little bit an overview of the online program. It consists of courses, and you also will do a thesis and an internship. And at the end, there is a lot of space for questions, and we also stimulate you to ask questions because we like to answer your questions. So basically, the online master program focuses on the core of food technology, and food technology is really multidisciplinary, and it comprises of many disciplines. So of course very important are physics, chemistry, microbiology, because the shelf life is important, the product should be safe, but also how to make it, so engineering, the nutrition. There are also some aspects of marketing, and maybe you want to have your food specific properties. So it's very broad, and so we had to make decisions, and in our online program we really focus on the core of the food technology, so on ingredient functionality, on sustainable food process engineering, and on product design. And so it's quite generic and a little bit more broad compared to the specializations of the master. However, you will really learn the basis on a very high level. So you will learn on how to do food science research on a master level and design food products and explain the disciplines and the science behind it. If we look to the outline of the program, then you can see that the program consists of 4 years. And in these 4 years, you are supposed to spend 20 hours per week on your program. So it's a part-time program. In the first year, you follow courses. So in a full-time program, you would need to obtain 60 credits, but because it's a part-time program, you need to obtain 30 credits. The same for the second year, you will also follow courses. And in the third and the fourth year, you will follow, you will focus on doing a thesis, and then you will do an internship. Sometimes students decide to do to combine the third and the fourth year, so then they will work full-time on this program, and then they can do combine these 2 years in 1 year. So then the total length of your program will be 3 years. In the first 2 years you will follow courses, and maybe it's good to know that all the courses are 3 credits. There are many compulsory courses, so you have to follow these courses, but you can also select some courses that you want to do, and we call them restricted optionals. So there's a list of courses and you have to choose from this list, and in this way you can also specialize yourself a little bit on what you want to do, and also this can help you to prepare for your thesis that you will do later on in the third year. Most courses, they use different learning materials. It's also to activate you, because if we would only provide you lectures and via knowledge clips, then it would be very boring. So what we do, we provide you knowledge clips, which are small pieces of a lecture that are specially recorded in the studio, so they are really of high quality. We have also tutorials in which you can practice with the materials, and there's e-learning materials. This can be a material to read, but also exercises. And sometimes there's group work, but we know that many of you also have a job, for example, or a family. So if you have to work on the same moment, it can be difficult. So we always try to be as flexible as possible, and our courses are especially designed for this. At the end of each course, there is an exam, and usually that's an online proctored exam. This means that you make your exam behind your computer, and there's software that records the activities on your computer, and in this way we can control it, and it's important for the credibility of your exam. So basically in the 2 years you will follow courses, and there are 11 compulsory courses, and in the next slide I will show you that as well. But besides these courses, there are also lab classes, and maybe you also saw it in the video that we just showed you. There you also saw a lot of lab work, because this is also very important, of course, for a program like food technology. So you also need to learn some skills, and therefore twice in the program you have to come to Wageningen in the first year and in the second year. And then in both years you come to Wageningen for 2 weeks in February to do lab classes. But it's also very nice, because then you can also meet the teachers on the campus, and you can meet your fellow students. So it's also a very nice period to work together in the lab and to get to know each other better, and the teachers. And I also like to come there and to meet the students. So besides these 11 compulsory courses, we have these 6 restricted optional courses to choose from. And there's also some space for really optional courses, so not restricted, but you can choose from every course that you want. These can be online courses from another university or from other programs. And if you are in Wageningen, you could also follow, for example, a campus course. There are lots of possibilities to fill in these credits, and you can discuss this with the study advisor. So here you see an outline of the first 2 years with all the different courses, and you can see that every 4 weeks you have a different course. So you really focus for 4 weeks on one course, and then you do the exam, and then you start with a new course. So it's quite intense, but then in a short time you will really learn a lot on the topic. Then in the 3rd year you will do your thesis, and there are several possibilities for your thesis. A thesis, usually that's a project that you do at a research department at the university here. And that's also possible for the online students. So if you follow our online program, you can come to Wageningen, and then at one of the chair groups here, you can do your thesis, similar to normal campus students. But of course, it's also possible to do it online, on distance. So, for example, you can do a thesis and arrange it together with your employer. If you already work for a food company, for example, it might be possible to do it at your own company. Or maybe you prefer to do it in what we call a sandwich project. So partly at home and partly here at the university, and then you can also use the facilities here at the university. So this is really up to you, and together we can decide what's the best way for you. Maybe also good to know that the thesis can be done part-time, but also full-time. So it really depends on your own flexibility, how long it takes. And also for the internship, there's a lot of flexibility. So what is an internship? Well, an internship is a project a research project that takes 4 months, so 24 credits. And normally for many students from the university, it's important to get some experience in the work field, so outside the university. But for you, the focus is maybe more important on doing a scientific research at a company, because many of you already have some work experience. And therefore, sometimes it's also possible to reduce the length of the internship a little bit if you already have a lot of experience. The options for an internship are the standard internship, so you go to a company, and this can be a really large company like Unilever, Nestlé, Friesland Campina, but it can also be a startup, a very small company. It can be a company in the Netherlands, but it can also be a company anywhere around in the world. It doesn't matter. As long as the assignment you work on is on the academic level. So you should work independently on a scientific topic. And together with the internship coordinators, we can assess the quality of your topic and see whether it's suitable for doing an internship. You will get a supervisor from the university, but for an internship, the supervision mainly comes also from a supervisor from the company. So that's also something we have to look at when we arrange your internship position. But we have a lot of experience with it, so there are many opportunities. Sometimes people also ask for an exemption for an internship, because if you already have a lot of work experience, we can imagine that this is a logical question. Sometimes it's possible, but not always, because it's important that you also did, that you can also prove that you did a topic similar to an internship at a company. So there should also be a report, a research report, for example. Sometimes we can find a solution in between, that you can use results and then you only need to write a report on it. So we can discuss the possibilities. So why should you do this online master? Well, because you really obtain an academic master from Wageningen University. So it's similar to our campus master. And it's also highly valued, of course, by the work fields. And why should you do this program? Because you can do it online from behind your own computer, on your workplace or at home, and anywhere in the world, and also at the time you want to do it. So as you saw, the courses are scheduled, but within the courses there's a lot of flexibility. You should do this online master because the research field of food technology is very important and contributes to major challenges in the world. Not only now, but also in the future. If I think about the protein transition, about a lot of sustainability issues, then I'm sure that there are challenges enough also in the future. The labor market is really great, both here in the Netherlands, but also anywhere in the world, and our graduates are highly valued, so it's easy to get a job after you obtain your master. And our education is really world class. It's maybe a little bit weird to say about your own education, but it's really excellent teaching. And that's not only because we say it, but it's also because other people tell it about our education. So, and we are proud on that. If you want to have more information, you can go to our website. You can see here the link. But if you have a more specific question and you cannot find the information on the website, then you can also send us an email. We have a general email address, and all the study advisors can read the emails from this email address, so they can answer your questions. But maybe you have a question already now, and then you can put it in the chat, and then we can discuss it here in the studio. So Arjen, are there already questions? There are already questions, but there is room for more questions. So if you have questions, do not hesitate. I mean, of course you can send emails, but if you send a question right now, you might as well get an answer right now. So, but there are some questions, and thank you for that. Thomas has quite a practical question, but important question, of course. Are all teaching materials included in the course, or do you still need to buy books? That's an interesting one. Usually all materials are available online, and it's really rare that you have to buy books, and that's also because most of the material we make ourselves. So usually we design our own readers, and we write our own readers and materials, and we publish them on our Brightspace. So it's in rare occasions a book is used for a course, but that's really an exception.
Okay. Maybe you can show us a bit of the Brightspace a little later. We can.
Yeah, let's do that later on. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Thomas has a good question. Do I need a background in science for this course? Maybe we can make this a bit broader. What types of background do you need to enroll in this in this program?
There are 3 criteria that is needed to be enrolled. So first, your level of English needs to be on a sufficient level. And there are criteria that you can find on our general website. So depending on the test, there are different criteria. So you really need to fulfill these criteria, otherwise you cannot complete your admission files. Well, if you fulfilled your criteria, your English criteria, then you can complete your admission files, and then we can look to your GPA, so the average of the grades you obtained in your previous education, and also we will look to the relevance of the program. In this master, you are supposed to know already a lot about chemistry, physics, mathematics, so a pre-education on science is indeed important. However, work experience can also be important and can replace some missing knowledge, but at least you should have quite some knowledge about chemistry, mathematics, preferably also food chemistry, food physics, food process engineering.
Okay, thank you, Janneke. I hope this question answers your question. If not, do let us know. Another question is, are all courses pre-recorded or will some be given live?
Yeah, good question also. We recorded all these knowledge clips already, that we did it in the studio, and that's because if we broadcast them live, then we have problems that different students are in different time zones. So it can be that you are maybe somewhere in America, and then your fellow student is somewhere in Asia, and another one is in Europe. So the time zones are really different. And that's why we decided to record all the materials and to provide the materials to you that you can work on it at the moment you want. So most deadlines, they are weekly deadlines, not daily deadlines. So within a week, you can see what you have to do, and some prefer to work in the weekend, while others prefer to work on Monday and Friday, for example. So that's really up to you, but they are indeed pre-recorded, and usually live attendance is not needed, only during the exam that is scheduled on a certain moment. And in some cases, we use some group work, and then it's of course also nice to have some interaction. And then the teacher tries to match groups based on the time zones you are working or living in. So that makes it a little bit easier to communicate with each other. If you want to communicate with your teacher, usually there's also a discussion forum, and there you can also post questions or videos, type things, whatever you want. And then students, but also the teacher, they can answer your question. So then you don't have to work on the same time, but you can still see the feedback from each other and the interaction. So usually it's not live interaction, but it's not on the same moment, but there's still a lot of interaction. And also, for example, maybe nice to know that if we have a recorded clip, you can also put notes in the clip. So if you have a question about something, then the teacher can also see it, or there are other students, and then you can also help each other learning from it.
Cool.
Yeah.
There are several questions coming in about it's this part-time master's program, and then the question is, will the course loads allow me to continue with my full-time job? So there's more questions about this. So how does this work to combine this program with jobs?
Yeah. Well, this job is specially made for professionals, because we saw that there are many people that are working in the food industry, but they still want to obtain a master, and then of course it's not possible to come to Wageningen every day to do a master program. So this is therefore a part-time master. However, the workload is still quite serious, because it still takes you 20 hours per week, so that's quite a lot. So the courses are also designed on working for 20 hours per week. So if you have a full-time job, well, then this is really quite a big workload, and then you really need to work in the weekends and in the evenings, for example, on it. But remember that it's not like 2 hours per week. It's meant for 20 hours per week.
Yeah. So it's serious work.
It's serious work. Yeah. Yes, especially during the first 2 years. Maybe during the internship and the thesis, then you can combine it maybe with your own job a little bit. But during the courses, yes.
Yeah. Okay, serious work, but you also get a serious diploma.
Exactly.
That's nice.
It's not like a MOOC or something.
No,
that,
exactly.
Yeah.
So the question by Daniel is, are students also allowed to follow in-person classes in Wageningen from other masters?
For the optional courses, that is an option, but for the other, on the other moments you already have classes that are scheduled. So on the other places it's not possible.
Okay. And another question by the same Daniel. Thanks for your questions. How much time is spent per week on mandatory classes and on preparing the classes from homework? I think you. Is it 50-50% the classes and homework?
Yeah, well, that depends a little bit because in each class you have knowledge clips which replace normal lectures, and you have to do assignments. But depending on the class, in some classes you really have to make a lot of exercises, because we have some classes on engineering and then you have to make a lot of calculations, for example. So if you calculate that as homework, yeah, then you spend a lot of time on it. What we say is the total. So when you are doing your exercises or when you are watching lecture clips or whatever you're doing for your class, in total it should be 20 hours per week. So it's not that you have to watch lecture clips for 20 hours and do homework. The homework or doing the exercises is incorporated in the 20 hours per week.
Good. So 20 hours per week, that's the thing to keep in mind there.
Yeah.
Also several questions are there about do we have to pay for 3 years? How does it work with tuition fees? I was awarded a loan scholarship that covers 2 years worth of tuition fees. So how does this work?
Yeah, and then maybe it's good to go to the website of SSC, because on the website of SSC you can find the tuition fees for this program and also for the other programs, because it also depends on where you are coming from. And also they show there the possibilities for scholarships. And I think scholarships, usually they are meant for a normal program, but I think it's more about that you have to, their aim is that you do a program somewhere else on a specific topic. And this is similar to our other masters, so I think this could also be suitable for a usual scholarship.
Okay. Please let us know if you want to have more information. Let me look. There's a lot of questions here. This is a nice question also to pick up here. How many students apply yearly? And I think it's nice to know. Applications is one thing, but how many students enroll for this program yearly?
We started this program a few years ago, and in the beginning it was really small. So we had like 6 students, the year after 7, 8. Last year we suddenly grew to 30 students. So for this year, I don't know how many students that there will be. We think that below 10 it's a little bit small, because we also want some interaction between students. But we also do not want to grow to more than 100 students, because that's also not feasible. And we also aim for a lot of personal attention for everybody, and the teachers, they really also want to be able to help every student. So I think 30 students is fine, but if there are 50 students, that would also be fine. I think we don't want to go below 10.
Okay. Then a question by Bamlaku. Bamlaku, I don't know if it's a he or she, but apparently you really like this this session. You wonder if it will be available online afterwards. I quickly checked with the operator. Yes, it is. So you can re-watch this webinar online when we're done. A question by Vincent. And that's going back to the admission criteria. So is it possible to enroll with a HBO? That's a professional bachelor's. That's a Dutch thing. A professional bachelor's from HBO. Can you enroll for this program?
Yes, you can. Again, the relevance of the program is important. So we will look to the transcript of the courses you followed, and then we can assess whether these are relevant or that you need to follow some extra courses. But definitely, that doesn't matter. It's still an HBO program. So.
Okay, clear. I like this one. Is it possible to do more than 30 ECs per year? So if I decide to switch to a full-time master's in food technology?
It's not possible to switch from the online master program to the normal program because the setup is different and the schedule is also different. So yeah, they are really separate. So you need to make the decision whether you want to follow the full-time on-campus program or the online part-time program.
You have to make this decision before the start?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can enroll for both and then make the decision on the moment you start.
Okay. I think that's clear. What is not yet fully clear, apparently, is the tuition fee question. And I think I agree with Sachin that we should make that more clear. So the question is, do you need to pay tuition fees for 1, 2, 3 or 4 years?
You pay for 4 years, however you pay half of it. So basically it's similar to the normal program. Okay.
So tuition fees are half of normal programs. You pay per year that you enroll.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me look. A very important question also, do we follow the Dutch holiday scheme in terms of agenda?
Maybe we can go back to our program. So here you can, the holidays, I don't think, no, they are not in. Right? No, they are not in this schedule. We do have the holidays in around Christmas, and we do have holidays in the summer. But the calendar is not exactly similar to the calendar of the on-campus. But the holidays, they are similar. But we only have 2 holidays.
Okay. Another practical, I like practical questions because they often are very important. Do I need a student visa for 2 weeks? For the 2 weeks that we need to be there in person in February? Maybe this is a question you don't have an answer to.
No, I don't. Do you have an answer on it?
No, but maybe the answer is here. Send us an email.
Yeah.
Maybe especially send an email send us an email with this question, and then we'll get back to you.
Yeah, and then we also learn something we didn't know. I know that we can help you with housing to give you some advices for during these 2 weeks, and also provide you with all kinds of other information.
Okay. We're really warming up. The questions are now coming.
Yeah, but maybe it's also nice to show the Brightspace environment.
Yeah.
So, because
good idea. That gives a bit of an idea, and then after this, we'll come back with some more questions.
Then we can do more questions. So, what I would like to show you is, we are providing the education online, and for each course we have a Brightspace, and that's basically the starting point for your course. So in the Brightspace we upload all the materials, materials to read, but also the knowledge clips. So every course has a Brightspace. And here you can see the homepage of one of the courses, and this is the course that I designed a few years ago. So it's about predicting food quality. And on the homepage, the teacher can write a message that, they can write an announcement, for example, that is relevant for all the students in the course. Then you saw that the courses usually take 4 weeks, so therefore the content is also divided in 4 weeks. So you see a heading course information, in which we provide, for example, a course guide and some tips, but the materials are placed in 4 weeks, and then you can see what you need to do every week. So there's also a discussion board for every week where you can place questions on the materials of that week, and if you click on it, then you come on the discussion board, and there you can see the questions that you placed, but also the questions from other students, and then the teacher, but also other students can answer it, and you can also discuss on the content, which is very nice. Sometimes you really see interesting discussions on it, and sometimes the teacher can also ask you questions, and sometimes it's also an assignment that you have to reflect on what you learned, and then the teacher can also see whether you understood the materials, and this can also help you in learning. So that's really a nice learning platform. So if we look in, this is an example of the activities that are placed in Module 1 of Week 1 of this course. And there you can see that I placed there videos, but also a PDF document with lecture notes. So this, in this case, the reader. It's also cut in small pieces in which you can read the material that belongs to the videos. And you also see an assignment. So with different symbols, you can see the different activities. And maybe you can also see that there's a clock right above with 1 hour. This is an estimation of the time that you need to complete these activities. So for these activities, these 4 activities, the estimation is that it will take you 1 hour. So really also to read the lecture notes, for example. If you would click on the video link, then you come here, and this is a very interesting picture of me. It's one of the knowledge clips that I recorded in the studio, and here you can see such a clip. It's a small clip of about 6 minutes, for example, which is about a specific topic. And we tried to make small clips, and then we give you an assignment, and then something to read, and then another activity, which really helps to, it activates you to learn the material. So you learn something, you practice something, and you reflect on something, and in this way it gives you the most optimal learning experience. And that's especially important if you work online.
Okay, thanks Janneke. That was the Brightspace. Maybe that partly answers also the question by Francesco about what is the structure of tutorial sessions, how do they work? Maybe also, maybe you can talk a bit more about that. Also about, you told at the beginning that there is some group work, not too much. How does it work, group work and tutorial sessions in an online master? Yeah,
in tutorial sessions what we often have is that the teacher provides you an assignment. And it depends on the course, but if we have, for example, calculation courses, then we often use specific software that we designed ourselves, which is LabBuddy. And in this program, the teacher can upload materials and exercises, and then, for example, if you have to calculate something, you have to enter your answer, so it can be multiple choice or open. And then if you give an answer that is not correct, so the outcome of calculation, then the program automatically gives you feedback. So, for example, you calculated something, but you made an error with the decimal, then your answer was 25 instead of 250, and then the program automatically provides you feedback like, did you think about the decimal? And in this way, with the tips, hopefully you come to the correct answer, and then in the end you can go through. So often, because you have to work on your own and you don't have a teacher standing next to you, in this way we provide you the feedback. And of course, if there are still questions, you can always ask the teacher, but with the help of software, we already provide you a lot of feedback. There is a course in which you really have to work in groups on designing a product, and there you can work on Brightspace, but you can also decide to use other communication things like WhatsApp or Google Docs if you find it easier. So that's also possible. So that's more the traditional way of working.
Okay. Relatedly, there's a question about what is the age group of the class? We already discussed before that there's this possibility of doing this master's next to your job, which probably means that it's not the standard type of master age groups.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's what I saw last February when I gave a lecture to the students when they were here in Wageningen. And our first year students, I noticed that there is a lot of variance between our students, because there are students that are really young, and they just want to do the online program and combine it with working. But there were also students, I also spoke to a woman, and she, her child, he was now almost an adult, and she had always had this dream of doing a master, so now she had the time for it. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Never stop learning. Yeah.
No, and I also really like to speak to those students, because many of them, because they have more experience already, they are so motivated in what they want. So it's very nice.
Cool. There's somebody here also who knows what, in this case, he wants to focus on analytics, artificial intelligence, on topics like global economics. Is this covered? Is this covered in this master, or?
Our program is really on the technology of food production, so the economics not really. So I wouldn't say that is covered. Sustainability is, but that's also more on sustainability issues during the production of food. So in food technology, we are really in the diving in the technological aspects of food. So we're really in the molecules. And of course, you also have food systems can also be very broad, and you can also look to it from a social point of view, for example. But that's not covered in this program. That's also not really food technology. In our other on-campus program, we do cover it, but not in this food technology program, and also not in our campus food technology program.
Okay. I think that also answers another question, whether there are opportunities during the master to specialize in bio-based economy, sustainability themes, and plant-based proteins?
The last two, if you want to dive into sustainability in this program, there are also some courses on sustainability, and then also during your thesis and internship, you can choose a topic that focuses on the sustainability aspects, and also the plant-based products. Yeah, that's really a hot topic now in the food technology. And we also have a professor, Adriaan van der Goot, you can look up. He is doing great research on plant-based food. So he developed a technique, and he's producing plant-based products from structuring the proteins in a more sustainable way. And he started with it already 20 years ago or something like that. And now it's really used all over the world. So it's fantastic. And of course, if you're interested in it, you can do a thesis on that topic, for example.
Okay. Clear. I think there's some questions about courses from other masters. Can you bring courses that you've done on previously from another university? Can you get these accredited, or can you use these credits at the Wageningen at this program?
I don't think that is possible. Actually, I don't think we can, that we can make exemptions for things you did before in the courses.
But it's also a very specific question. So maybe if these, yeah. So it depends very much on the situation.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Also typically a question. Send us an email with what you did, and then we can address this question. One question is also by the student coming from the HBO, who is maybe in doubt whether he has enough background in statistics. So he wonders, is it possible to get some help during this online master, freshening up or doing some extra work on this statistics side of things?
Yeah, well, generally statistics is not very important for this master program. Mathematics is, but more that you have to make differential equations, for example. But what we sometimes offer in courses is that we offer, like also in this course, you can, let me show you. Yeah, here you can see that left above you see module 0. And basically I made that module because it contains some information that is not part of the course, but is just to prepare you for this course. So it's kind of assumed knowledge, but if you don't have it, then you can watch the material, learn the material that is provided here. Yeah. And in many courses we provide some material in this way. So if you need some extra help, then this is an option. And if it's not provided, you can also ask the teacher whether the teacher has some tips, like, okay, I'm noticing that I have a lack in something. Do you have some advice for me?
Okay, so there are some refreshers and Kickstarters there. Okay, cool. Mandatory classes, are they in the morning or afternoon? That gives away a bit that Daniel knows the Wageningen system quite well, eh?
Yeah, but that's on our campus program. So here, you can even do them during the night. It's up to you when you want to work on your courses.
Okay, I think that's a very clear answer. It's a lot of fun to study during the night. So what's the deadline for application?
Do you know it by heart?
Not by heart. I think depends on where you're from. So you can look it up at the Wageningen website, and then to the admissions page. Yeah. There you will find all the information, also on admission criteria. We're pretty much almost there. There are some quite specific questions. So maybe this question is good to answer. I do not have a proof of English proficiency yet through a test. Do I need to submit it before the application deadline or after with a conditional offer? I think the answer is we need to offer it. You need to have the proof of English proficiency before, because this is the first step of assessing your application. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
yes, yeah. I think if you don't have it, then the admission committee cannot see your application and not assess it. So therefore, you need to have it before.
Daniel has a specific question about an example of a master thesis on the area of food production and industry, 4.0 automation. I think this is a specific question also to reach out or look up in the library. In the library, you can find many of the theses also.
Well, actually,
not of yours, eh?
No, there are not that many in our library, because many theses are also part of a project of a PhD. So, but if you want to know, you can look on the website of our food chair groups, because usually when you do a thesis, you are working for a professor or a PhD that is working on a topic. So if you look on the website, you can see the education of the chair groups. We have 5 food chair groups. We have food chemistry, food physics, food process engineering, food microbiology, and food quality and design. And together they provide most of the education. And on there, they all have a website and also a LinkedIn page. And there they also distribute articles of their research. And you can see the projects on which they are working. And then you can also see what type of research they are doing and if there's something interesting for you.
Okay. And maybe a nice last question to close off with. This master, is this a good preparation for doing a PhD? There's somebody...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because here on the university we also have many PhD doing research, and so there are regularly PhD vacancies, and of course they hire people with a master in food technology. So, and we have had some very good online master students, and I think the teachers would love to offer them a PhD. So definitely that's a possibility. It's not granted, because a PhD is just like a normal job. You really have to apply on it and they will select somebody. But there are a lot of PhD positions.
Okay. On that note, I think we would like to thank you very much for joining us in this online session. I thank also Janneke for her extensive presentation and answering all these very interesting questions.
Yeah,
thank you for asking the questions.
Definitely, I really loved your questions. It was so nice to do.
Okay, and maybe see you online in our online master's program starting next year, maybe the year after, or maybe you come and join one of our offline on-campus programs. Anyway, thank you for joining, and have a good evening or morning or whatever time it is over there.
Yeah, that's true. Bye.